ridiculous. It's when I start having to turn page after page after page, that's a problem. And your version of this about I didn't really know what was going on, and I just went with somebody at the store, and I didn't know what county what I was in. You didn't know what county you were in because y'all were going from county to county to county, and still you're not going to help yourself by saying anything right now, okay? All right, are you Elaine Sinclair?
Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. Sinclair, you were previously in court in cause numbers 23 DCCR 2044 and 23 DCCR 2117. Entered pleas of guilty in each of those cases. I've received the pre-sentence report. Has everyone received that report?
The defense has, Your Honor.
State has, Your Honor.
Are there any additions or corrections?
I think we need to correct some stuff, Your Honor. If we can swear him in and let me ask him some questions.
Raise your right hand the best you can. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're going to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the
Yes,
truth?
ma'am.
Okay, go ahead.
Mr. Sinclair, in your PSI, you stated that when you were doing your interview, you stated that you were in the wrong place at the wrong time. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And you understand that being there and participating in this is the same thing as committing the crime, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you did commit the crime.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you also said somebody said you did something you didn't. You're talking about you weren't the one planning this, organizing this,
Yes.
but you were involved in it.
Yes, sir. I was involved.
Okay. And as far as the thing about just taking probation just to be out of jail, is that you took probation because you don't want to go to prison, correct?
Yes, sir. I don't want to go to prison.
Okay. All right. And you understand that's the options are go to prison, take probation, or go to trial, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you thought taking probation was the best option.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you are guilty of this and you did do this.
Yes, I did.
At least you participated in this, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Pass the witness, Your Honor.
Anything?
No, Your Honor.
Okay.
So, Mr. Sinclair, obviously we've had numerous conversations here about
Mhm.
kind of the, a few things. One, the opportunity that you're being given
Yes, ma'am.
with these probations, and also with what's going to happen and the jail disciplinary and following the rules and things like that.
Yes, ma'am.
One thing I can say, and I'm pleasantly surprised, is that you haven't had a jail incident report since we had our last really serious conversation about that.
Yes, ma'am.
And so I appreciate and hope that maybe you have grown up some and will continue to do that so that you can be successful and live a whole different life than what you've been doing.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'll go over some conditions and some more instructions in a minute. But first, I'm going to find in each of your cases that you entered your pleas of guilty freely and voluntarily.
Yes, ma'am.
Find sufficient evidence to find you guilty. However, in cause number 23, DCCR 2044, I'm going to follow the agreement and defer all proceedings, place you on probation for 10 years.
Yes, ma'am.
You're ordered to pay the $1,000 fine and to follow all of the rules and conditions of probation. And I'm going to go over some specific things that are going to apply in both of your cases in just a minute. And cause number 23, DCCR 2117, also find sufficient evidence to find you guilty, but I'm going to follow the agreement that you made with the district attorney and defer all proceedings and place you on probation for 10 years.
Yes, ma'am.
You're ordered to pay the $1,000 fine in that case and to follow all of the rules and conditions of probation. One of those conditions is going to be in each case that you enter and successfully complete the cognitive track of the ISF program. And that's just a program that is intended to help you to make better decisions, to not be around the wrong people, to not be part of the lifestyle that you've been living. Otherwise, you're going to end up in prison for a long time. You'll be on the high medium caseload in each of those cases until probation finds otherwise. After you've been on probation for a while, that means you'll have to report more. They're going to keep a better eye on you.
Yes, ma'am.
You're going to have to get your GED if you haven't graduated from high school. You're going to have to get a job and do all of those things. And they're there to help you do that.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so if you're feeling like you can't do something or you're struggling or you don't have support at home, probation's there to help you. They're not trying to trip you up. Nobody wants you to spend potentially the rest of your life in prison, but that is going to be 100% up to you at this point. You're going to have to ask for the help and make that change and grow up and be more mature at a younger age. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
The last thing is that a condition of your probation is that you do not get any incident reports in our jail or in ISF.
Yes, ma'am.
That will be a violation of your probation. And you're going to, if you do that, you'll be back in court before you ever get out and see the light of day again. And you could be looking in each of these cases at a minimum punishment of 5 years up to the rest of your life in prison. And based on the nature of these offenses, it's not going to be y'all coming in here and arguing for some 2, 3, 5, or 5, 6, 7 year sentence. I'm sure Miss Malvina is going to come in here and ask for something huge. It depends on what happens. I can't prejudge it, but I'm telling you right now, you better not get in trouble, because that's the one thing that you've been doing that's been extremely frustrating to me. So you've learned how to do it. Whatever you're doing, you're staying away from the riffraff out there, and I appreciate that. Continue that. Do what you're supposed to, and you'll be able to change your life and be hopefully a success story.
Yes, ma'am.
You understand?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
A condition of your probation also, excuse me, in each of your cases, you are not allowed to possess a firearm at all. That means obviously you personally possess one. You can't be in a car with someone else that has one. You can't be in a house with someone else that has one. Somebody has one, you're out of there. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'm handing you the trial court certification in each of your cases that shows that these were agreements that I followed, and so you've waived your right to appeal. Again, keep doing what you're doing. I'm really hope that you have, I'm impressed that I haven't gotten another incident report. And so I want to acknowledge that and tell you that I know that takes a lot out there, and I appreciate it. Continue that.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes,
Judge,
ma'am.
if I may, would the court consider continuing the admonishment that you'd given him previously about no contact with Jerron Crane or any of the other participants? I do not know who they are. He knows who they are. He knows who he was hanging around with
Sure.
from his high school class.
So
Just so that
obviously
he's
you're not
around
you're not going to hang around Jaron Crane because we know him, but there were others that were involved. You need to, and you're going to learn at ISF that when you come back out of ISF and you're on probation, that you've got to put yourself in different situations around different people.
Thank you, ma'am.
Get a job, go to school, whatever it is, go do that, go home. You know, the hanging out, if you're caught doing that with people that are also in trouble, then you're just going to be right back in there with a violation.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
All right, you go back with the bailiff.
Would you please state your full name for the court reporter?
I'm from Marie Shear.
And Ms. Shearer, how are you employed?
I work at HEB and I'm with the Loss Prevention Department,
How long have you been with the Loss Prevention Department?
5 years.
And through your employment as a loss prevention officer with HEB, have you become familiar with the defendant Alexis Bourgeois Cooper?
Yes.
Please explain briefly to the court how you have come to be familiar with her.
She originally came on our radar back in February of 24 when she started stealing from our stores in Montgomery County. And then she was pulled over shortly after stealing at a Conroe store. And that's how we were able to ID her.
And you understand that she's already pled guilty today to a state jail felony level theft for $3,547 worth of cosmetics and makeup from a HEB store in Port Arthur. You understand that, correct?
That's correct.
And she committed that offense along with co-defendants Katira Green and Monique Wynn. Please briefly tell the court your familiarization with Katira Green and Monique Wynn.
Both of those parties are part of an organized retail crime and a spree group that we've been following about at the same time. And they have in Houston area, Katarina Green has for stealing from our stores about $56,000 worth of cosmetics, and Monique.
I just object to any co-defendants' restitution amounts or what they've pled guilty to or found guilty of.
That's overruled. Go ahead.
And then Monique Wynn was about $42,000. And they're part of a ring that was hitting our area for a short period of time.
During the period of February the 24th through April the 24th, how many actual thefts did your investigation link to the defendant, Ms. Cooper?
10 events.
For a total loss of how much?
$8,956.50.
Now, for the entire ring, what approximate dollar amount would you put on? Well, let's break it down. What about for Wynn, defendant Wynn? How much would you attribute to her?
About $42,800.
And for the defendant Green, how much would you attribute to her?
$56,000.
Is it fair to say, in your opinion, that this group has been operating as an organized retail theft ring?
Yes.
And have you, in your 5 years of experience in loss prevention, have you, how would you rank this endeavor?
This is about the second highest ring we've had in HEB.
Ms. Bourgeois Cooper, one of the things that stood out to me in your pre-sentence report, well, a couple of things. One, your criminal history is ridiculous. It's when I start having to turn page after page after page, that's a problem. And your version of this about I didn't really know what was going on, and I just went with somebody at the store, and I didn't know what county what I was in. You didn't know what county you were in because y'all were going from county to county to county, and still you're not going to help yourself by saying anything right now, okay? Because Ms. Shear was just here and has you on video at other stores doing the same things. So I don't dispute what she said under oath at all. I think Mr. Lane did an amazing job for you, and you are very lucky because he got you the cap of 12 months because you deserve a lot more, in my opinion. At this time, I'm going to find that you entered your plea of guilty freely and voluntarily. And in cause number 24 DCCR 1296, find sufficient evidence to find you guilty. And at this time, find you guilty of the state jail felony offense of theft of property. Sentence you to a term of 12 months in the state jail prison. You will receive credit on that sentence for any time that you've been in custody that the law gives you the right to receive. I'm going to hand you the trial court certification that shows this was an agreement that I followed, and so you waived your right to appeal. I have also handed you a written admonishment regarding your ineligibility to possess a firearm or ammunition. Because of the judgment entered against you, you're ineligible under Texas law to possess a firearm or ammunition. Possession of a firearm or ammunition could lead to charges against you. If you have questions about the laws that make you ineligible to possess a firearm or ammunition or about how long that lasts, you can talk with Mr. Lane. And all I can tell you, Ms. Bourgeois Cooper, is that I hope you learn your lesson while you're in state jail and stop all of the stealing, because each time you do it, this is only going to get worse. It's going to get enhanced. You're going to get more time. At this point, you now have, I think, 2 felony convictions, and that's going to start adding up. And you're going to end up with a lot more time and going to TDC instead of state jail. Do you understand? All right, and go back with the bailiff. So, good morning. Are you Matthew Smith?
Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. Smith, I need you to speak up, please, so I can hear you, and so the court reporter can hear you. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Parker. Will your client waive the reading of the indictment?
It will, Your Honor.
Mr. Smith, in cause number 26 DCCR 0073, you're charged with the state jail felony offense of theft of material, copper, and that's from December 8th of 2025. And how do you plead to that charge?
Guilty, Your Honor.
Are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
Yes, Your Honor.
And are you pleading guilty because you actually did what they've charged you with? I have here on the tablet some documents that have your signature on them that the state has marked as exhibit number 1. Before you signed these, did you go over them with Mr. Parker?
Thank you,
So
Judge.
if there's any restitution, then you would be ordered to pay whatever that amount is. Do you understand? As part of your probation?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you also understand, if you're not a U.S. citizen, that a plea of guilty or no contest may result in your deportation, exclusion from admission to the country, or denial of naturalization under federal law?
Yes, Your Honor.
State tenders number 1.
Objection?
It's admitted. Is there any evidence that Mr. Smith is not competent?
No, Your Honor.
All right, sir, I'm going to find that you entered your plea of guilty freely and voluntarily. Find that you're mentally competent and understand the nature and the consequences of your plea. Find sufficient evidence to find you guilty. However, I'm going to reset your case so that the probation department can do that pre-sentence report and see if there's any restitution that they can determine between now and then we'll come back later for sentencing. Ms. French, what is the state's position with regard to me reducing the bond based on the nature of that plea agreement for sentencing?
It's 30 days, Your Honor. Whatever time he gets, he'll get credit for.
Well, if it's a deferred probation, typically just, so you haven't been in here.
I'm so sorry. I was thinking of another 20-month term.
Yeah, it's
Moving on to the next one. Sorry. I'll defer to the court.
no issues that you see me doing that. So, Mr. Smith, what I'm going to do based on the nature of your plea agreement, is reduce your bond to $1,000, but I'm going to make that a personal bond. And so what that means is you're not going to have to pay the $1,000 to get out of jail. You're just going to get out of jail today. But there's some very important things about that. The first is that the first thing you do when you get out of jail is go to the probation department so they can start that process to do that report. If you don't do that, then you run the risk of me not accepting the plea agreement and things could be worse. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Also, if you're arrested for anything between now and when you come back for sentencing, you obviously run the risk of me not accepting the plea agreement and things would be worse. Do you understand that as well?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, then we'll see you back at sentencing. Probation is going to give you some paperwork in just a minute so that you know exactly where to go when you're released today, okay? All right, you can go back with the bailiff.